Hello there and welcome back to some more Forza Motorsport 7. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the August update. This dropped a couple of days ago and it has brought with it a couple of major new features, a free car as usual, as well as a bunch of minor bug fixes. We will start of course by taking a look at the free car, which is the 1989 Aston Martin Aston Martin AMR1, 740 horsepower, 620 foot-pound torque, 1,997 pounds of weight, P-Class, 987 is the PI number exactly, mid-engined rear drive, and if you couldn't tell before, this is a Group C car. Yeah, another one. We've got quite a few of these in the games. Obviously you got your Saubers, your 787Bs and so on and so forth. This is joining that group, and to be honest with you, I'm not one to complain about free cars because, you know, it's free. They don't have any obligation to put this in the game whatsoever. It is a free sort of thank you gift to the community, which is all fine, well and good, but I've got to be honest, this car really doesn't do anything for me. It's got a kind of cool looking livery, you know, it's simple. I've got nothing against the Aston Martin, I just don't find these cars particularly interesting. These Group C cars do nothing for me really. They all sort of drive very similar and I already like the 787B a lot, so getting me out of that's very difficult. As far as I can tell, historically this car isn't really particularly notable. It didn't do very well in terms of racing. I think it got 6th in the season it was run. The only interesting thing to really know about this car is it was tuned engine-wise by Callaway, who you might know as people who tune Corvettes these days, and you'll remember them from PGR4 with the Sledgehammer, maybe Gran Turismo 4 with the Callaway C12, and they've been in the news for other bits and bobs. But yeah, not a hugely exciting car for me personally. Doesn't really do a lot for me. I don't think I'll get much use out of it. Not complaining, again, you know, it's a free car, I haven't paid for it, so I can't really say anything bad about it. I can't say, oh my god, this is an outrage, why is this in the game instead of this and this and this and this and this. But yeah, it's not what my personal choice would be, but nevertheless, it is a cool car. I did see some people quite happy about this one. Also worth pointing out is it doesn't have an explode feature in Forza Vista. You actually have to take every part of the car individually, and I don't think this front end comes up either. But you can have a quick look at that glorious, glorious V8 engine there. Look at it. Fantastic. Alrighty. The Aston Martin, though, despite being a free car, and obviously people get very excited about free DLC cars, not the most interesting thing in this update. Not by a long shot. There is 3 major new features / revisions to this game we need to talk about. I'm going to talk about, well, the first one first. We have a time attack mode finally in the game. You might remember before the way Forza 7 did leaderboards is we had a homologated leaderboard, and then we had a leaderboard full of everything that wasn't homologated, just one random big splooge fest that was just full of X-Class cars. Both of those leaderboards are wiped and gone, and instead we have the system from Forza Motorsport 6 back, where you can see time attack here in the Rivals menu, so Class E, D, C, B, A, S, R, P, and X. Every single class in the game is able to be time attacked. There is no homologation in these modes, it is purely cars built to the top of that class, and to see what I meant by like Forza Motorsport 6, click on it and you get presented with every single track in the game, every different layout, and weather condition as well is in its own separate thing. Worth pointing out, for raining, nighttime and daytime courses, the weather is frozen. It's not dynamic like it would be, you say, you know, when you go on free play you can sort of control with rain whether it goes foggy or rainy, and the career mode obviously does that as well. These are all fixed weather conditions, which does mean you can't set times in anything other than time attack mode. If you want to set a time attack time, you have to set it in the time attack mode. You can't have a quick lap in career mode and that be your lap, if that makes sense. Everything has to be done via this. So let's go and have a quick explore of the time attack mode. Let's click say Top Gear, because Top Gear is the track I use a lot. As you can see, I can use pretty much any one of these cars. Again, doesn't matter about the homologation, I won't get told off for trying to pick those cars, although I'll go with my Nismo GTR LM. I did a build video on this and it's at the top of A700, and it's the only car I've got at the top of A700 because I don't really upgrade cars too much. So we're going to get on track at Top Gear, and I'm going to talk to you both about the time attack and the new track limits. So here we are at top gear as we go up to the line as you usually would in a single player race, and yeah, it's just a time attack mode. It's basically a free play with no cars. You just sort of get to come here, set your own times, have some fun, drive some cars. It's all a good time. I have no idea why time attack was not featured in the game from the start. I'll show the leaderboards off in a minute, which is something I forgot to do. But yeah, as you can see, yeah, pretty standard affair like it was in the previous Forza games. Just sort of drive around the track and set the best time you can. I am also apologise for any driving you see in this. I'm not used to driving in third person. Usually I go for the cockpit cam, but it's kind of hard to show off what the other feature, the track limits, while being in cockpit camera. So yeah, pretty straightforward. Pick a track you like, pick a car you like, and just go drive it around and drive it around and drive it around. You get unlimited laps. It's basically it's basically like setting a standard rivals time, I guess, is the best way to think about it. The only difference is, of course, you're not getting any like big prize cars or anything like that. You're just basically racing for pride and money, for which there's not a lot. You know, this isn't a new way to make money or anything like that. But yeah, the game has needed this feature desperately. I have no idea why it took them this long to implement this feature, but I'm extremely glad that it is here and that we can see it. Speaking of stuff that has taken them a while to put into the game, let's talk about the new track limits. So, you can't really see what I'm talking about, sort of in the standard race, other than seeing when I got a dirty lap, but in the options mode, if you go into the HUD, you will see a new option down here for track limits, and if we turn that on, we will see some nice blue lines pop up on course, and these blue lines are, well, where the limits of the track are. This is a major improvement. The track limits have been awful in this game since day one. They've been truly atrocious. We've seen some major issues in terms of like corner cutting opportunities you can do and so on and so forth. Honestly, it hasn't really mattered because, again, there was no time attack mode or anything like that for anyone to really set better times in and so on and so forth. But I know it's made some people angry, you know, not being able to know where the limits of the track are if they're going for like a clean lap, say for maybe qualifying or something like that for, say, a tourer, I don't know. But yeah, now we have new hand-drawn, according to turn 10, track limits, which means they should all be dead on, and they've said they've done it for every single course in the game, all 200 different variations. Well, I guess the weathers wouldn't really change the track limits, but yeah, every single track has now got new hand-drawn track limits. I've seen a couple of people complaining about the fact that they're too strict now. Yeah, okay, sure. Apparently Long Beach is a bit of an issue. You can still see, you know, around some of these corners, the curbs apparently go under the whole track limit thing. You can't go over the curbs and so on and so forth. It is tight, don't get me wrong, but it's sort of supposed to be, I guess, more realistic. In a, you know, real-life race course, they don't let you cut over the white lines and stuff. You'll get a track limits caution in the case of BTCC occasionally when the actual, you know, officiators are paying attention. You can sort of see, as I go over the lines, they are going different colours. They're blue, you know, that's sort of their standard colours to sort of see where you're going. Then they start turning amber when I stray over the line, and if I completely destroy the track limits, they will turn red. Apparently, the new rule of thumb for this is 3 tyres off course gets you a dirty lap. I can't remember quite how they did it before. It was sort of just random turn 10 gods, you know, telling you what you can do. That's a bit weird where they've cut off the red and white there, but still. Yeah, it's sort of up to the turn 10 gods, or was before, but now we've got like a hard cap. It's 3 wheels off the course, which is nice. Yeah, I really like this new track limits feature. Honestly, I think this is useful in a couple of ways. One, of course, you can sort of stop all of the awful corner cutting issues you were having. I will quickly go and have a look at the other way of apparently presenting this, because there's 2 ways. So if we scroll down here, we have the choice of ribbon or markers. I wonder what markers is. I'm assuming, it's sort of just a change of line, so you don't see the massive line, instead you see these little triangles. Yeah, this is useful for multiple reasons. Again, you stop all the corner cutting dicks, which was a bit of an issue. But also, I think this is actually quite a crucial new track learning tool. Before, the only way to really learn a track in Forza was to use the driving line, which I've always said is horrific, because the driving line has no idea what it's doing, you know, it sort of has the red for braking points and all the rest of it, and they're crap, they were so naff. But now, thanks to this and sort of the way we can present it on the screen, you can sort of see them go red there as I scroll across the line. The way we can sort of see these and learn these now, I think this is a better solution for learning a track. If you're on a track you're unfamiliar with, you know, maybe turn this HUD option on. Even if you're not going for like quick lap times or anything, it's still a great way to learn your way around a course. You can sort of see all the little blue lines sort of telling you where to go. It is probably very useful in that regard. And yeah, as I said, this is an update again, like the time sack. It's been a long time coming. This really should have been... unlike the time sack, this wasn't really a massive feature for me, but sort of after seeing its effect in game and seeing how much better the game is for having these track limits now, yeah, I think they are a great improvement. But it's not just timer sacks and, well, it's not just hot lappers and, well, clean racers that are going to benefit from this update. There's also another community that gets a little bit of a benefit too. Let's go have a look, see what's happening on the drifting side of the game. But quickly, before we do that, I figured I'd just quickly demonstrate the whole leaderboards, how they work. You can sort of see all the different times. You can see I'm 11th, but that doesn't really mean anything, because again, the leaderboards got wiped. I could probably do better than that when I'm not driving in third person or anything, but yeah, you can sort of see the nice way they're laid out. They look exactly the same as they did before, and so does this sort of cool little sum up on the side, on the right hand side as well. But yeah, still, nevertheless, it's nice to see the leaderboards finally tracking quick times in different classes and so on and so forth. Now we'll go... Oh, another thing actually, you get paid for the time tax as well. Not a whole lot of money. You basically get paid the same as you would by doing a Rivals event, and you level up according to that as well. Now we'll go look at the drifting stuff. Of course it'd be raining when I come and have a look at the drifting stuff. Anyways, let's see what they've changed. So, the first major feature is that there is now a new suspension setup for the drifters. We now have the option of not just race springs and dampers, we have drift spring and dampers, which add a little bit more front end camber to the car, and I'm not too sure what's out in terms of their stock setup over the sort of standard race suspension. But one new tuning aspect that they do add is the option to tune your steering angle, which is apparently important in drifting. I'm not going to pretend like I know a lot about drifting. One thing to note is any legitimate racer that's thinking, oh, steering angle, that could be quite useful for actually sort of standard track driving and so on and so forth. It makes absolutely no difference to you. Steering angle only, or the steering angle will only affect the car or become more than stock when the car's going sideways. If that makes any sense, I've described that horrifically. Basically, you can't use it to choose how much turn-in you have in normal cornering. It's only when the car starts drifting you get control of how much counter-steer you can apply. I guess that's the best way to describe it. Yeah, that's the way steering angle works. So any sort of legitimate time attacker that's looking at using that as a way to provide themselves with more or less steering angle when they're time attacking, no, you can't do that. But yeah, as far as I can tell, it only adds some extra front camber. All the rest of this looks pretty much the same as you would get on standard race suspension. But the main drifting feature is not the drift suspension, it is in fact the revised drift HUD and scoring system for the game. Let's have a quick look at that. Before we do, of course, we go into the options, once again into HUD, and we will turn ourselves on the drift HUD, which will correctly display our scoring. And it isn't just score it displays anymore, as you're about to see, as we load into the race in our BRZ. Again, pouring wet, this is probably going to be even worse than it would be normally with me drifting. But, as you can see now, we have a couple of other little menu features on, or a couple of new HUD features on the bottom right. We have angle, line, and speed, and they're going to measure our drifting performance now. It's not as it was before, which was basically the points were given out and got quicker and so on and so forth. It might have been based solely off speed. It might have once again be down to the turn 10 gods what they decide is what you get. But now, yeah, we have a thing where we can actually see how we gain score. Basically, this is rated out of 10, so you sort of saw there I got a 10 for speed, 10 for line, 10 for angle. This is awesome. I've seen a lot of people raving about this on Twitter, saying like drifting has become enjoyable. Even people who aren't really drifters are saying they're having a lot of fun with this, because they now sort of know what they're doing, if that makes any sense. They sort of know what to look out for, they know to try and max out these scores and see how much overall score they can get on track and so on and so forth. Just see how well they can get around corners and so on and so forth. It's awesome. It really is awesome. It's a pretty simple new solution, or it's a pretty simple new thing. This one, unlike the track limits, this isn't any hand-drawn stuff. I'm not quite sure how they'd compute this. I don't think they've gone around every single corner in the game and gone, oh well, this is the correct amount of line and speed and angle and whatever. I also apologise for the controller having a massive vibration fit in the background. But yeah, I doubt they've gone up to every track and gone to that extent. But they've refined it, and it is excellent. It truly is excellent. The drift community, at least I think, is happy about this. I don't know. And everyone I've seen on Twitter has been really enjoying this. It's making drifting fun again. I'm seeing a lot of people having more hope and faith in Forza and having a lot more fun with it, and sort of just drifting cars, which I can understand, because yeah, now I sort of feel like I'm being rewarded. Another huge feature for the drifting, at least for me, this is sort of my favourite thing about this. Screw all this angle and line and speed stuff, that's all great, but you can actually finally chain the entire track together as well. Before, you sort of would only drift in random segments of the track, it would only give you select corners to drift around. Now you can chain the entire track together, which is really cool. Of course, that means, you know, in terms of score, much higher scores are now considered impressive, while the lower scores that you got before maybe aren't as impressive. But in terms of just more fun, yeah, I think it's much better. You can chain the track together, keep your drift score up, and so on and so forth. That is, you can see how horrific I am at drifting. I don't think I've drifted properly since the Forza 4 days, but yeah, you can sort of see there being able to chain the drifts together around stuff like in corners, like that back straight I was managed to do it on. Yeah, that is an awesome feature. This really is an awesome update in terms of drifting and so on. I don't think there's a drifting leaderboard. I should have really checked there. I highly doubt it. I haven't heard anything about a drifting leaderboard, but that is pretty much the main features from the August update right there. The new drifting mechanic, including new angle calculator, speed calculator, and line calculator, as well as the ability to chain the whole track together. We had a look at the time attack mode, which again has been completely redone, and well, that is actually completely new to the game. And we've also seen the revised track limits, which have all been hand-drawn. I say hand-drawn in quotations. It wouldn't surprise me if they have actually. Turn10's been on a bit of a community-pleasing role as of late. For the rest of this video, I'm just going to show you a couple of quick little features and notes that I've taken away from both what Turn10 has said and what's come out in this update. First off, another update on prize crates. Last time we had a look at prize crates, they had removed the car crates, and now, while it is mod crates and driver crates remain, these are going to be stripped out of the game in a couple of months' time and replaced with a storefront for these, where you can actually just buy the driver gears and buy the mods. I've never really had too much of an issue with prize crates, even when they were first introduced into the game, because they had no exclusive cars or anything like that in it, which is the only thing I really care about. I don't care about exclusive driver gears and all the rest of it. But obviously, because of all the bad press loot boxes are getting, and quite rightly so, because loot boxes are the fucking worst, they're sort of starting to strip these out of the game now, which is perfectly understandable. They never charged microtransactions or anything like that for them. Of course, they would have been a bit more controversial if they had done. Then again, people just sort of made up lies because they were like, oh, loot boxes, they must clearly be microtransaction driven. But no, in short, the mods and driver gear are turning into their own little storefront in a couple of months' time, and that should be good for that. Forza Fun has had another little change. As you can sort of see it there, I'm going to claim some money. Money is now available in the Forza Fun rewards. Of course, cars are, as they used to be, and driver gear is, but now they've also added the ability to get credits from this as well. I haven't really done any of the Forza Fun events since all the cars became buyable, because the only reason I was doing Forza Fun in the first place was for the rare cars. We don't have any of those anymore, so there's no real point. But if you want to earn some extra money on the side, it's worth doing. They're pretty easy as well. The top one was for free races in time attacks, or like solo races, and then this one's for complete 10 races. You get 300,000 credits, so it's another interesting way to earn money. One final little thing I noticed is that in the by car segment of the menu now, it's been changed from a 997 Turbo to a 911 GT2 RS. No idea why it wasn't like that in the base game, but considering the 997 isn't actually in the game, or the Turbo S at least. Yeah, never really sure why it was like that, but they've changed it now. That was something only I really recognised, or I'm the only one that I actually saw know about that. And one other update is the specialty dealer has gone into its sales room. It is, yeah, basically cars on sale, and they come with a little bit more collector's score, so if you're really anal, you could probably rebuy all the cars again and get the extra collector's score. I'm not going to bother with that. But yeah, that is essentially the August update in a nutshell. Overall, really good update. This one's been getting a lot of good community feedback. It's really revitalized the game. You know, again, the new time attack mode, which is great for people like me who are really anal about lap times and like to play solo because we have no friends. The drifting stuff has been done for your dude bros, and, well, I shouldn't say dude bros, your normal people as well. Again, that's one that I've seen a lot of people really happy about. And, well, for those of you who don't particularly care for time attacking or drifting, hell, there's a new car for you to look at. And if you don't like that, well, it's free, so shut up. Anyways, yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you all very much for watching. Apologies for covering this one a couple of days late. I still am on my couple of week hiatus from YouTube. I wasn't sure whether to do this video or not, but in the end I decided, for the sake of completion on the channel, I may as well have a quick look at it, and if anyone missed it, they can watch this video, although you must have been living under a rock, because a lot of people have been covering this. Anyways, that's enough from me. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.